morning, Twitch TV, and welcome to another exciting installment of the Dawngate Community Catch-Up. It is exciting today.
It is exciting.
That's very exciting. I'm actually excited because I think that this next shaper we're going to be talking about today is super fun. I've heard people making assumptions that
That's true.
It's fabulous. I would say those assumptions are pretty outrageous.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Truly outrageous. But good morning, everybody. So welcome to our community catch-up. By the way, my name is Andy Belford. I'm the community manager here at Waystone Games. Joining me today is Dibs, Dan Gibson. He is the lead shaper designer, which there's a good reason he's here because we're introducing a new shaper to you today on the stream. So
if I'm here, you know it's going to be a good show.
You know it's going to be a good show because
Casty, whatever.
Yeah, you know, Gasty. All he talks about is features. You talk about
features.
Features. Pshaw, indeed. Alrighty, guys. So before we get into that, though, I want to do kind of our around the net thing, and of course, my friends are sending me Google Plus messages right now.
Google Plus
or whatever.
Who uses that?
I do. I'm a social media guy. I'm supposed to use all those things and know all the things and stuff in the junk. So hopefully that didn't completely mess with this next shot we're going to. No, it didn't. Okay. Yay! All right. Outstanding. So here we go. So we do like to go and check out the Dawngate subreddit every Wednesday. By the way, guys, if you are not already, you should be subscribed to the Dawngate subreddit. They broke 2,000 last week, so good on them. Good job over to Venora and team and everybody. Just a second, guys. Sorry. I'm just going to stop this. On live stream right now. Sorry. We'll get back to you. I should probably just shut that stuff down. Anyways, but he's probably going to send me another message just to be a pain in the ass, because that's what he does.
That's good, I like it.
I know, right? It's a lot of fun. There he goes. Anyways, so there's a thread, actually, that we were just talking about just now, which is... Which one? Wait.
This one?
This one?
Yeah.
Question about auras, because I'm bad. So, was doing some theory crafting, wondering if they stacked. Or is stacked, so that's an easy one.
So I just want to make sure the first comment on here says, Zyro once said to me, multiple auras on a team equals good, multiple auras on a shaper equals bad. Just to clarify, and most people are talking about stamina, protection, and unity are 3 defensive auras. Mm-hmm. All 3 of those have a defense aura rank 1, 2, or 3. It will always take the highest one, so if you have protection, which is the only one that has rank 3 aura, it'll take that. The stamina and unity aura will still be applied if you have those. So if you had all 3, the total auras to your team would be the stamina aura, the defense aura level 3, and the unity aura. So it's not horrible to get them, but I wouldn't recommend it.
The returns you're getting are not,
the rank 2 defensive aura from stamina and unity will not get applied whatsoever.
Yeah. And by the way, multiple auras on a shaper not necessarily bad.
Not necessarily bad.
As long as they're different auras.
Like if you have stamina and I have protection, it's not better. Like the multiple auras on a team, the only thing that's good about that is that we spread our coverage out. If I die or if you die or if we're not together, then that's good, but no stacking benefits and
right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the shaper we're talking about today might be a good one for the auras.
True. Yeah, that's super good.
That's a really good question to pick out.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to point out we did have actually the Haas Gaming guys in here. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna go to the Dawngate page really fast, as you guys see my Facebook page. Sorry.
It's good. I like it.
We're just gonna open that kimono wide. So, come on, scroll down. There is a pretty cool new Haas Gaming video that just came out. Facebook's been loading super slow. By the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, Haas Gaming makes some outstanding Dawngate videos.
Welcome. My name's Haas, and this is another Dawngate video.
I like his voice.
His voice is amazing. Like his voice is great. I would definitely check it out. He actually is really good at editing as well.
So you know
very descriptive.
So we are
Talks
playing Amaranth.
a lot about
ranged mage with
hard to focus on that. He does a lot of really great commentary, very informative. Talks about all the different shapers that he plays. So if you haven't checked out, I think he's Dutch, Free Phoenix, excuse me, Phonics. Free Phoenix. Yes, I remember that from Friday or Saturday, something like that. I think he is Dutch. But anyways, if you haven't checked his videos out, if you want to learn more about the shapers in Dawngate, I definitely recommend checking this out. This guy and like Mr. Smart Donkey and those guys really doing outstanding jobs with the videos and everything. So anyways, there we go. So aside from that, that's kind of our community roundup today.
I did see a video this morning that was just a clip of the end of the Money Pigs podcast last night.
That was amazing.
And I watched it and I was like, what's going on? What's going on here? I didn't get to watch the live stream last night, so I got to watch the VOD, but I just caught that one clip.
So what do they call McDonald's in Austin, evidently?
Apparently they call it Dick's.
Dick's?
Apparently. Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was like an inside joke for maybe on the stream.
No. Evidently they call McDonald's Dick's in Austin. I've been to Austin a few times. I've never heard this.
In Texas?
In Texas.
I don't know if I believe that.
I'm not sure. I think Baby Cat got some splaining to do.
Yeah, I think he does too.
I think he does. That's okay though. So anyways, so yeah, that was an interesting. You should check out that clip. It lives on the subreddit.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. And by the way, if you're not already checking it out, the Money Pigs, they record their podcast every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific.
I actually think it's.
I think they start recording at 7 p.m. Pacific, and it's like 9 p.m. Central is when they start. I think.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
So anyways, you should check that out if you're not already. Usually there's some Waystone folks who are hanging out in the chat and just kind of watching and listening and lurking and whatnot, and then there's always the fun after show. So always a good time. So check out the Money Pigs podcast if you're not already.
Yep.
So anyways, how many McDicks? Okay.
Yeah, no, sorry. Now we got Dick spam in the stream.
Yes, the blue light's on. Somebody was asking. Blue LED. Yes, the blue light's on. The blue light means that we're live on the stream. So yeah, that's why it's on. Get that question out of the way. If that's not already in the FAQ. Evidently, we have more delay than normal for some reason. I don't understand that one, but whatever. We are giving away beta keys today in the stream. We're doing so silently. You do need to be following the channel in order to win a beta key. So please throw a follow to the channel right there. While you're at it, go ahead and click on the Twitter and the Facebook link. Throw a like to our Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the Dawn Gate on Twitter and Facebook.com/DawnGate. The Dawn Gate, excuse me. So anyways, new shaper.
We got a new shaper. I know. I'm super excited. She's like one of my favorites.
She is a ton of fun to play, and I think she actually fills kind of a role that's been missing. And I don't want to editorialize it too much, so I'm going to wait and I'm going to hold off until you've had a chance to explain a lot of this stuff. But,
sounds good.
I'm going to start us off actually by showing some very nice concept art.
Yeah, sounds good.
That our friends over there in the art pit sent to us. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, so that's still there. And we've got we may need to do some other stuff too before we get there. So I'm going to go ahead and show this though. And so for the very first time, folks, seeing here on our community catch-up, you're going to see the introduction of
Raina, the Guardian.
No, not the Guardian.
Oh, we changed the title?
Yes. Raina the Archivist.
Sorry, the Archivist.
Yes.
The Guardian was so long, and then we renamed it.
So this is actually some concepts and a little bit of exploration that we'll kind of put together. We'll talk a little bit about the ones down below.
Yeah.
So when we talk about Raina, like thematically, what can we say about Raina?
So the original theme was Shield Maiden in the file. She was called the Shield Maiden. What we wanted was a juxtaposition to Desecrator and Kel in our tank lineup. So there she's a tank character.
Okay.
So we had Desecrator, who was walking tombstone monolith guy and obviously very undead and dark. And we have Kel, who's more lighthearted. Sheepman, he's kind of jokey as far as the characters are concerned. So we wanted a girl character. We also wanted one who was more serious and more badass. So we were like, Shield Maiden was the original concept, and then we started it.
Started from there. So one of the things, like if I was, and I was talking to Will about it this morning, actually asking him some of the things that he did as far as exploration goes. There's a huge lore story behind Raina, obviously, and if you're not reading the current series going on right now, you should. It is called, Brad, what's the name of the fiction called?
Strand,
thank you. Strand Part 1 and 2 were posted already in our forums. There's links to it on our Twitter and Facebook. Part 3 should be posted today. So I believe that's the conclusion of it. So we'll be posting that today, and then we'll be posting some more detailed information about her over the next couple of days.
Right. Additionally, if you've been paying attention in the Kindred story, if you read through that very closely, she also has a guest appearance in one of the stories in the second part.
That is true. She and her
brother.
And her brother.
Her little brother.
Who is unnamed. Well, he's not unnamed, but we'll talk about him at a later date.
Yep.
So with Raina, there were some cool things that I remember, you see these lower ones, the lower images down there. Again, like sitting here gesturing, like they can see the ones on the bottom, the black and white ones there. Those are kind of what the early exploration, right? So kind of the more like imposing juggernaut-ish figure, which she still is fairly imposing and still juggernautish. And I would say I actually like the fact that she is a very strong female character in the sense that, she looks strong. She looks very strong, right?
So there was this early concept that we had, which was this folding shield that she could control with kind of her mind. So what you see in these kind of like lower concepts, and especially in the bottom right, was kind of these interlocking pieces of shield. And we were like, what if she was not only physically strong, but also she's a shaper, so she has these additional abilities. So what if she could control her shield beyond it just being a normal shield? So you can kind of see the shield in the middle, and then the shield kind of exploded on the right. We were thinking, what if these pieces floated in front of her? What if she could use them, throw them out, or put them on the ground or something like that? So you can see the concept, and we kind of went with a more complicated total shield that you can see in the top left, which is the finished concept.
Absolutely, and we'll be showing that off in game. So you said we were trying to fill kind of a little bit more serious of a thematically.
Yep.
When it comes to like her actual role within gameplay, like what role are we trying to fill with her in game? So
we were looking at kind of the tanks that we already had in the game, which were Kel and Desecrator again, and looking at what they did well and what we kind of didn't have yet. So Desecrator, if you guys have played the game, he's just like an unstoppable CC machine. His core kit, QWE, all have CC within them, including a passive on his basic attack. And then Kel, aside, is a high mobility character. He's got good mobility on his Q. He can go over walls. He can chase pretty much anyone, and he's got a decent amount of CC as well. So what we kind of wanted to fill with this character was the niche of unkillable. So we wanted, like, Desecrator looks tough, and Kel looks tough because they're tanks, but she's got this gigantic shield. How can we like pull that into her kit and make her much more tanky than the other characters?
Right.
And allow her to kind of like stay in fights longer and have more time to think about things than they do.
I would say that much unkillable is a good way of describing it.
Right. Yeah.
If you build her properly.
If you build her properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you know what? I think it's about time for us to actually show a little bit of gameplay with her. Go ahead and fire up the gameplays, and we'll swap over to that in just a minute. And I'm actually, while we're doing this, I'm actually going to go ahead and shut this down really quickly, and I'm going to add another image really quickly. And this is actually our finished concept, or not finished concept, but finished render work that we usually do, which you guys will actually see in the next couple of days here, if I can find it. Where is it?
There it is.
There she is. There we go, guys. And this is some finished render work right there. So that is very close to what she will look like in game. Obviously a little bit arted up, but I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, she's incredible.
She is quite incredible. That shield is huge and imposing and scurry.
Oh, I should probably maybe choose her over here.
You should, yes. So, speaking of which, we are in character select right now. We're on an internal server, so we can't really show you the stuff that's going on there. So we'll switch over to the game camera, the game camera in just a few moments.
Build the line on me.
So
I won't break.
When it comes to like roles, what roles would you say would fit Raina very well?
So she's good in both the lane and the jungle. So hunter or tactician is probably the roles that I would choose her in. She could play Predator as well if you were going to be really aggro.
Yeah.
I would not suggest Gladiator for her as a melee tank character in lane. She needs to be using her abilities to harass rather than last hit.
There has been some concern expressed by our community regarding the viability of melee shapers in lane.
Yep.
I mean, do you feel like Raina's is going to address some of those concerns?
She is very viable in lane. I think that the concerns mainly from the community are based around the Gladiator role in particular, like a Gladiator Moya or a Gladiator Freya, which Moya and Freya, which you would assume could be viable but don't appear to be. It's probably the biggest issue that we're dealing with on the design team right now, and there's a lot of changes that we're thinking about, but that's in Gassy and Dale land that are coming along down the line.
Absolutely. And then spell-wise, why don't you go ahead and if you want to do the cheat menu and just level her up and kind of show like a fully kitted out Raina.
Pluto, can you activate cheats, please?
Cheat mode engaged.
All right, good.
And we're gonna you're gonna hear some noise going on. Go for it.
Okay.
Leveling everything up.
That looks good.
There we go.
Okay, shall we switch
And
over?
do you want to do the spells as well?
Oh, right, sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and take, standard things that I would want on her in Hunter role.
Okay. So you are seeing him play. You are seeing Diz play her Hunter right now. It's mostly just for demonstration. We're going to actually see gameplay demonstration tomorrow. We will actually at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. We will have gameplay going on. Go ahead and hit F4, please.
Sure.
And
1 second, let me just reset here. And
change all your bindings.
Yep.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
that way.
Yes, you will see stuff in
Okay.
just a second, sir. There we go. Now you see it. All right.
You can't. Oh, I hit F4. I tried to go into the.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay, we have to do it. I forgot about that. We have to do it manually.
okay.
So you should be able to get back into game, right?
Right, but we're going to have Pluto set up another game.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
Sorry, guys.
Forgot about that.
Awkward.
Awkward turtles. Kerbear94 once says, Dan, swish your hair, Dan.
Swish? Oh, you want me to do a little swish?
Swish.
I can't with these headphones on.
You can't with the headphones on? Oh, okay. Kerbear94. Is that you, Carrie? Because if that is you, Carrie, I'm gonna tell your husband. Actually, he probably won't care. Anyways, Coffee Dude strikes again.
What's up? Pluto, you got kicked out.
Pluto got kicked out. Yeah, he's setting it back up again. So hey guys, while we're killing some time, you got some more questions really quick? Reader guy has great teeth. Man, they're just like they're digging on you today, Dan.
I know, it's true. I think it's Zalgus. I think he's making multiple accounts.
Is he? That's what it is.
Any compliments in?
Oh, okay. We are giving away beta keys today, guys. We're doing it silently in the chat. So please follow the channel. You do need to be following the channel in order to receive a beta key. So show us your teeth.
I know,
Smile, Diz. There's Zalgus.
That is Zalgus.
That's Zalgus coming in from the time off, and he's just to show you the love. I think he wanted to see this too.
I know.
Do the hair swish with that.
Okay.
Seems weird.
Oh, it is. Anyways, all right. So you're getting all leveled up, and once Dibs has selected his spells, we'll switch over to the game cam. This time we'll do it manually, as opposed to.
Redeploy.
There we go. All right. So go ahead and Alt Tab real quick. Do that thing.
Which thing? This thing?
That thing, and then hit game cam. C'est voilà. C'est voilà.
All right.
There we go. Alrighty.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm gonna just teleport here.
So guys, if you do have questions right now, let's go ahead and keep them
A good spot.
kind of focused on Raina for the time being, and we'll do a little bit more of a broad Q&A after we go over the Raina abilities and gameplay and stuff like that. So if you go ahead, and I'll let you take it away, sir.
Actually, let me get some gold. See some Vims. So we get to use the delightful cheats in this mode.
That's right.
And I'll just buy some basic items. So Raina is a discipline shaper. She uses the. Oh, where'd you go, Pluto? She uses the discipline resource to cast her W, which is a stance change, which I'll get to in a second. Her abilities Q and E generate discipline. The W drains it. Her passive is steadfast. When she strikes an enemy with her basic attack, she gets healed based on her armor and magic resist. This bonus is doubled for Shaper and has a short cooldown. So you can see a few attacks, don't do anything, and then I'll get a big heal. I've got a lot of armor and magic resist being max level, so it's a big heal. Her Q is Repelling Strike. It is a enemy targeted ability. I dash to them and knock them a short distance away. This is a cone ability, so if I go, or once the jungle spawns, I'll go over there. It will knock all enemies away in a cone and deal physical damage to all of them.
I'll head that way.
My W ability is Bastion of the North. It is a lock-on ability. I will select Pluto and form up my shield. As you can see, my discipline starts to drain.
A good spot.
When I have that shield up, I gain reduced damage all enemies in a gigantic cone in front of me, and gain increased damage against Pluto. So you can see that as he moves around, I stay locked onto him, and can follow him and then block damage from him and all enemy characters in the same direction. Once my discipline reaches 0, as it just did, it falls off, and I can no longer maintain the shield.
Keep up.
I gen a little discipline back with my abilities. And as you see, so go ahead and shoot me, Pluto.
High.
His basic attack does 76 damage to me. When I put up the shield, it does 57.
Seems
It is a flat damage reduction percentage. It does not increase armor and magic resist. So when compounded upon armor and magic resist, it's extremely potent.
Is it possible we could actually go into lane and just show the mechanic of the shield and
Yes.
how it kind of indicates the area?
So the target that I have, let's lock onto Pluto here. This primary thing is the primary target. Everything else is something I'm reducing damage against. Only I see this. This isn't effect spam. This is just for Raina herself to tell. So every single target in this gigantic cone, I'm reducing my damage against. Reducing damage against when I take damage. So in this like scenario where Pluto is harassing me under my tower, I can just lock onto him, take less damage from the minions, take less damage from him, and come out okay.
That looks good.
So her E ability is Shockwave. It is another targeted ability. She fires out a line from her hammer that deals damage and physical damage and slows the first target hit before bouncing to 3 targets behind and dealing physical damage. So this is a really good chase tool. It's a really good clear tool. If I'm playing Tactician, this is the ability that I'm going to level first.
Watch the enemy, not your hammer.
So Pluto's scared, and he's not doing any damage to me. Her ultimate is Wisdom's Reach. She throws her hammer in a line. It will connect with the first shaper it hits or at max distance, and then it will explode, dealing physical damage in a large area and stunning all targets. So you can see I hit Pluto there, but additionally if I throw it past him, oh, let me cheat. It will explode anyway. So this is probably the best initiation ult in our entire video game. So I can be well out of range all the characters, throw my hammer, stun an entire team, and then easily engage on it with my W, Q, and E.
Face villain.
First blood.
You need training.
The enemy team has been annihilated.
So got a couple of questions for you. Okay, what is the actual cooldown of her ultimate ability?
So her ult at max rank is 96.5 seconds. That must be, yeah, I've got a little bit of haste, so it's cooling down. So it's about 100 seconds. I believe it probably drops from 120 to 100 over rank up. So that's pretty standard. Oh boy. So Pluto thinks he's smooth, but he's not. And so I'll go over her W because this is probably the most important part of her entire kit. So just to give you some numbers, at max rank, wow.
Is under attack.
At max rank, it increases the damage that I deal to them by 15% and decreases all damage taken from anyone in front of me by 25%. 25% on top of my already high armor and magic resist because I'm a tank is like enormous. It's like almost double dipping into defensive stats because it's pure damage reduction rather than mitigatable armor or magic resist.
So what about base stat wise?
So base stat wise, she's similar to our other tanks. She scales armor and magic resist well, just like all our tanks and bruisers. She gains additional base stats off her W just by ranking it up as a passive, so she gains armor and magic resist for each rank of that ability, which makes her additionally very tanky. And like I said, her passive heals her based on her armor and magic resist. It scales with armor and magic resist. So the tankier she gets, the more sustained she's going to get, and she's just going to become, like I said, very, very unkillable.
Right on, right on. So let's, does true damage go through her W? That's a good question.
It actually does not. It will be reduced. We only have one source of enemy true damage in the game, but she will reduce it. Another good question is, will true damage be increased by her W, which is also true. If I am taking the jungle role and I take Vanquish to start, if I have a lock-on, let's say on the green buff, and I use Vanquish, it will increase damage. I just deal over 1,000 damage true damage, max rank Vanquished, increased by 25%, so incredibly massive. So additionally, things like Pride and Glory will be increased by this. So if I had Pride or Glory and was locked onto a target, I could just chase them and be dealing 25% increased damage for my Pride and Glory. Very, very, very potent.
Under attack.
Very nice. So let's talk about, things like build order, you did mention, if you were laning with her, you would max E first and stuff like that. So let's talk a little bit about like item builds and build order and stuff like that.
Sure.
If we could get Pluto to knock off the shooting for just a minute.
So if I were going to take her in lane, I'd be taking life right now. That'll give her lots of sustain, give her lots of additional health to kind of help harass and trade well. If I were taking her in the jungle as hunter or predator at the moment, I would be taking resilience. She doesn't need hunger like some of the jungles do because of the heal on her passive steadfast, and armor will reduce the damage she takes, and also give her more healing on her steadfast because it scales with armor. Additionally, so I'd want to build her into pure tank. So I'm looking for items like an early pride, into glory, a rampancy, a protection aura, and then after that I kind of got a few options. Inevitability is really good on her. Her E is not considered AoE damage because it can only hit 4 targets, so she'll get the full ability returns on that slow. So not only will her primary target be slowed, but all additional targets hit by the ability will be slowed, and give her a little extra power and health, which is always nice. If I were going to get a haste item with her, chaos, action into chaos might be a good choice, but motion into stability or momentum might be good as well, depending on how much CC they have. This would give her some magic resist, tenacity, reducing the effects of disables, and make her even more of like an unstoppable tank.
Okay.
And then after that, your last 2 items, it's kind of up to you, depending on what the situation calls for.
Some folks were asking, does their W actually have any effect on binding damage?
Yes, it does, but you can't lock onto binding, so you have to play it. You have to play it a little bit. All right, Pluto.
Keep up.
You have to play it a little carefully. If the target is behind their binding or running away from the binding and you're locked onto them, there's a good chance that you're going to be blocking those shots or reducing the damage from those shots. But as soon as you get past the binding, if you're still locked onto a retreating shaper, you're going to lose the hits because they're coming from behind you at that point.
I'm watching you.
Okay, interesting. How is the item Faith?
Faith, super good. I would certainly recommend buying it on her if the situation called for it. So I'm looking at a Fenmore, an Amaranth, and a Desecrator in the game. Maybe not even just a Desecrator. Maybe there's a Volok there as well. If there are multiple sources of magic damage, an early Conviction into Faith is a really, really good choice.
Okay. There's a good question about loadouts right now.
Okay.
What loadouts do you recommend based on different roles?
So if I was going to take her in the Hunter role, Power Armor Haste is probably a pretty good one. That gets kind of everything she wants. She wants a little bit of armor. Brawler is also very, very good if you get into that late game team fight status. Additional armor magic resist is just going to make her even more tanky, increase her heal even more. The early health from the flat stats are very good as well.
Your binding has been destroyed.
Typically in Hunter, when I'm playing a more tanky Hunter character, I usually take a Resonance myself. Is that something advisable for this one, or?
I would not take a Resonance because she's not going to be attacking too fast. She's additionally late game. It's going to become pretty, I wouldn't say worthless, but the odds that she's going to get repeated basic attacks against a single shaper are very low. So if I was in the attack speed bruiser category, like Moya or Volok, or Freya, that's a very, very good choice. But if I were like on Desecrator, Kel, or Raina, I would prefer the pure stats or scaling armor magic resist from Brawler.
Okay, interesting. Is the W effect, is that visible to the enemies?
So the enemies can see everything that I see right here.
Right.
What they cannot see is the little tiny effects. So if I teleport over here, all these little ones, that indicates what I'm blocking, but the enemies cannot see that, only I can.
Interesting. Is there a reasoning behind that?
We wanted to give her some clarity on exactly what she's blocking. I mean, the cone is fairly large, but we did not want to create incredible effect spam across the entire board in a case where she has 20 minions stacked up.
A good
Does her AoE stun duration scale with skill level?
It actually does not, so it's 1.5 at all ranks. Just the cooldown decreases, and damage increases, and the cooldown decreases.
Keep up.
Okay. Let's see here. Does the W auto-lock to nearest enemy, or is it targeted?
It is targeted, so I have to target Pluto here, and if I walk over here, all the minions went away. And then I can retarget, and it'll change to a different target.
Now I'm sorry, was it Discipline? Is that what the mechanic is?
Discipline is a resource.
Right, so the resource is a new resource. What's the regeneration rate comparable for Discipline?
If you're looking at other characters in our game, it is faster than Focus, but slower than Spirit. It doesn't scale with level. She always has 100 discipline. The W drain rate is constant, and her passive regen rate is constant. But what you're really looking for is generating off the Q and the E. So I'll give you some numbers. When she hits a target with her Q, she gets 5 discipline, and then up to 20 total based on the number of extra targets that she hit. Same thing with the E. She gains 5 for her main target, and then 5 additional for each target hit. So for a maximum of 20. It's kind of meant to. I mean, if you're thinking about this character critically, she is an almost unstoppable duelist, right? If you're in a duel with her, she has % damage reduction against you and % damage increase against you. It's extremely potent. So the point of these kind of generation mechanics is to make it so that you can't duel indefinitely. You will lose your shield, your discipline will fall off, and you won't be able to pull it back up. However, in the late game team fight, where you can hit full targets on Q, can hit full targets on E, she's going to have nearly unlimited discipline and allow her to keep her shield up all the time.
Okay, interesting. No, you cannot block turret shots. We did cover that one earlier.
You can reduce you reduce damage on
yeah, you reduce the damage on it.
You cannot lock onto them.
Yeah, you can't lock onto the binding though. That is true. Yeah. Would you say that Super Jeremiah wants to know are her damage scalings good? Sometimes it's fun to build a kind of a damagey, tanky character.
Her damage scaling is pretty good. If you've played Power Kel or you've played Power Desecrator, you know that those characters can both get very bursty, but obviously you'll sacrifice some tankiness. If you haven't played those characters, if you're familiar with League and you play something like AP Amumu, then you know sometimes it can get pretty bursty. So she does scale well with damage, but I don't know if I would recommend it.
So Ignis Volek has a interesting kind of a what-if question here. If you have targeted somebody like, say, like a Desecrator, and they throw the Death Fog behind you, is the damage behind you reduced?
So she is reducing damage against that character, regardless of where the damage comes from. If she is facing that character, the damage will be reduced. So even if a Nisa throws a boomerang that passes through you and then back through you, as long as you're locked on a Nisa, the damage is reduced. It's magical shaping in conjunction with their shield.
Okay. So what's the range like on the W? Because there is a definite range on it, and we could actually, if we can get
so
to demonstrate.
This is the cast range, and then the fall off range is a little bit further. So keep walking, Pluto, and then it will fall off. Oh, additionally, I should have mentioned this ability gives you vision. So once Pluto clears these waves, the Pluto teleport over this wall. No, Pluto, come over here.
Over the wall.
No. So good. So you can see that as he moves around, I have vision of him until he moves out of my total cast.
What about into the brush actually?
Yep. It is that item over his head is giving vision.
Oh, we moved into the wrong brush there.
Right. He moved out of my range.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Yep. There we go. All right.
So that makes it a very, very, very potent chasing tool.
Yes, absolutely.
Helps their friends catch up to enemies as well.
Okay. Awesome. Let's see here. More questions, guys? Are servers going to be up today? No. Servers will not be up today. So yeah, this is actually a question we've seen a lot from folks. Does her Q allow you to go through the wall? Like if you get a short gap or something like that?
It does not. It is too short.
I'll keep watch.
So I'd have to go around.
Okay. What about any of the short gaps in the game?
I'm not entirely. I don't think that it will. I think that it's too short. Hey Pluto, can you come to Parasite, please? Oh, I don't have any wars. Let's get cheats.
They won't pass.
Okay.
A good spot.
There he is, right there. Okay.
No, it's too short. It's probably the shortest range dash in our entire game. So
okay.
Moya's being the shortest that will go over walls, and hers only goes over these short walls.
Okay. Can her W target Parasite?
Yes, it can.
So it makes her kind of the ideal Parasite
Makes
tank.
her a very good Parasite tank.
That's actually really good to know too, because especially like in a team fight, your team is still taking damage from Parasite. You can basically have that dual functionality where you're focusing on the Parasite, but at the same time you're able to position yourself kind of between the enemy team and your team if you get ambushed while a Parasite.
Right. So the thing about her that kind of makes her feel very different when you're playing her in particular, all her abilities being these kind of frontal cone abilities, both on her Q and her E, she plays a little bit of a different role than Kel and Desecrator. Kel and Desecrator both want to get in the center of enemy team fights. Both of them have good AoE CC, and in Kel's case it's PB AoE, it's right around him. She actually wants to play a tank role like you would expect in like almost like in an
Binding
MMO.
has been
So she
destroyed.
wants to be between the enemies and her carries until she engages with her ultimate. But
Yep.
keeping that W up and rebuffing kind of the bruisers or what have you, or assassins that would be coming after your squishies, is her primary role in team
Good
fights.
spot.
Right. I will say that, you know, and I've made this comment to you before. You know, I played a tank in WoW for 7 years. You know, and
Right.
you know, this is the first MOBA character that I've played that has actually felt like a tank. You
Right.
know, with the shield mechanics, with the lock on, with, you know, the CC and the kind of the short dash and everything. It really does feel very much like kind of an MMO style.
Your binding has
Tanky
been
character.
destroyed.
Yeah, that was like a lot of the goal when coming into the design, and I think that it was pretty successful.
Okay. Can you show the ult again? He missed it.
Sure.
Just show it again.
Where you at, Pluto? Where's Pluto? Oh, there he is. So that is a big physical damage AoE and stun.
Yep. Let's see her. So if you use her W and then you Q, E, or R, does her W stay active during that time?
Yes, absolutely.
Villain.
And I'm actually extending the length of it because I'm joining discipline.
That's true. Yep. Let's see here. Oh, this is a very important question. What's her slash joke?
All right, can they hear the game well?
Yeah, they can.
I'm not all about combat, you know. I also make wonderful omelets.
It's pretty good.
Do you know what the penalty is for an overdue tome?
Because she
She is the archivist.
she's the archivist. Yes, that's right. Works in the library. Well, not.
There's no word for fear of giant hammers. Let's make one.
She is a delight.
Nice. She is delightful.
Wait for it. Villain.
D. Chantelot, I forget the name of the item, but the item that makes your spell slow the enemy, does that work with her W?
Inevitability. It
Yeah,
does
it
not.
does.
You need to deal damage to proc that. So her W deals no damage, so it will not proc it. But it's a
Okay.
very good item for her.
Awesome, awesome. Any other questions, guys? Regarding, yeah, sorry, it's my Skype, not yours. Be sure.
Maybe
Waiting for the
there.
questions. Well, she's a. Oh, so there's another great question, actually. Does she walk slower when she's blocking?
No, she does not.
She does not?
Originally in the design, she walked faster when she was walking towards her target,
Mhm.
but she became not only difficult to duel, she became impossible to escape. So while she is a very good chaser, we did not want her to be impossible, so we removed that.
Yeah, we don't. You definitely don't want her
No,
to.
there are no downsides to being in her W form except draining discipline.
Yep. Yeah, I remember at one point it didn't. Did she always have discipline, or was that like a
No,
late addition?
when she originally came in, she didn't have discipline,
Uh-huh.
and we had these issues where if she
Your
was on the
binding
same
has
power
been
curve as you,
destroyed.
it was literally 100% impossible to duel her. Like the percent damage differences would just make it so that you lost the duel. Your only option was to run. So we invented the new discipline resource, which is what we're going to use for stance changes or persistent stances, so that in a duel she only has a short amount of period where she can be in that stance, and then it falls off and you can duel her.
Okay. Does a vision on her W actually grant vision to surrounding targets, or only to that target?
Only to that target. The smaller targets in her cone do not. But it is a small radius, so if a target were right next to her target, you'd be able to see them as well.
Can he attack the enemy standing behind her discipline? I don't understand.
Can she attack enemies while she is facing away from enemies? She can.
Okay, awesome. And let's see here. Well, this is a pretty straightforward question. Don't lose the game accidentally. Does the Winions are? No! Kill those Winions.
Binding will respawn soon.
That can happen pretty quickly.
Pluto push my lanes.
So you may have gone over this earlier, but Free Phoenix is asking, what is the effect of actually leveling her W up?
So it actually increases. She has passive armor magic resist that she gains from it. Additionally,
Not yet.
Additionally, it increases the percent damage increase against enemy shapers or against enemy targets, and percent damage
Your
decrease from
binding
all
has
enemies in front of her in the
respawned.
cone.
Okay.
A good spot.
Fusion Onda Elite wants to know, what is the reason she got such a low range on her charge?
The reason is because we didn't want to give her super high mobility, but additionally the combination of her EQ and the low cooldowns that they have make her a very, very potent chaser. So we wanted to give her the ability to close with her E, use her Q to get in, and then because it has lower range, it has that much greater effect of potentially team-wide knockback, team-wide knockout, which is very potent CC.
Right. I mean, I think that if you had even more range on that Q, on that dash, she would be nigh on uncontrollable,
yes.
Especially coming out of the jungle.
Right. She does a really good job at, like I said, kind of rebuffing enemy attackers, so the short-range dash feels really good.
Okay. Dankoi will actually show gameplay of her tomorrow. Dibs will be back tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and he will be playing Raina at that time. So, buy a full item build. So, will we have recommended items in game?
Yes.
When she comes out?
We will indeed.
Okay.
If I were going to buy it, though, like I said, I would get my glory for sure.
Yep.
So depending on what's going, you always need to look at what's kind of going on with the enemy team. If the enemy team was full of range carries, a order would be fantastic on her. It would just her damage reduction would be so great against those characters.
Yeah.
I would be looking at an equilibrium or subjugation. She can do AoE damage and hit all targets, so she can apply both these effects. Again, if they were range carry heavy, I would be thinking about this, or if they had someone like Moya or Volek or Freya. Mm-hmm. Subjugation is good if it was a more general team. Like I would want to get that probably pretty late game. As someone mentioned in stream, Faith would be a very good buy on her, but it's again in the right situation. Stability or momentum, depending on kind of what the flavor is, what the enemies have. If they have lots of slows, if they're just using stun style CCs, I wouldn't get anything in the hunger tree. Let's see, but I would consider Rebirth. I would not consider Creation, although she has a heal on her basic. It's not consistently procced enough that I would want to buy this. I'd rather rely on Rebirth. So if she got low, healing, like here, even with my health at this point, it would be 1,000 health over that amount of time. Remember that the effective health that she gets for 1,000 health with the increased armor magic resist of her items and then her W and the damage reduction, it's way more than 1,000 health. It's super high.
So let's talk about the jungle route for her. Like you did mention that she's a viable hunter. How would you? Where would you start? Like, what route would you take with her in the jungle?
So I would start blue. Haste is really good. She has good haste ratios because she's a tank. And using her Q and E are kind of what obviously those are her clearing abilities. So I would want to start at the blue, get some help from my friends, starting with her Q ability, and then leveling up E and then W. I would do orange buff second. The armor, like I said, it's going to increase her healing. It's going to make her unbelievably tanky. The orange buff also has flat DR on it. The more DR she can get, the more damage reduction she can get, the better she's going to be. Then I'll be looking to gank, making sure that my green is warded, so that the enemy jungler doesn't steal it.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Does her Q work actually for friendly targets, or is it only enemy targets?
Only enemy targets. She can't charge the friendlies.
Okay, there's somebody who was saying, man, that would be really cool if it was like an intervene
right.
in WoW.
Oh, I do love intervene. Intervene is super good.
Intervene and what's the priest version of intervene? The reverse intervene.
You talking about leap of faith?
Leap of faith.
That is like the best ability of the entire game.
It's such a trolly ability.
No, it's super satisfying though. Like being in an LFR, pulling someone out of fire. So good.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, we got about 10 more minutes. We can actually do some more. We can do some more general questions if you guys would like to.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to swap out of the game client and turn that off, and I'll scooch over here.
Quit the Dawn Gate.
Quit the Dawn Gate, indeed.
Are you sure?
Yes. And then hit F3 if you don't mind. Say voila. All right, and cool. I'm going to scooch on back over here.
Sounds good.
Sweet, so thank you very much. So those of you who are asking, when are we going to get to play this amazing new Shaper? The goal is to have Raina in our next patch. So whether that's this week or next week, you will know soon enough, or the week after that. I wouldn't say it'd be that far out, but you will know soon enough. Basically, guys, we usually post announcements about our beta windows every Wednesday, and then we'll post usually our patch notes like the night beforehand. So that's when you'll know for sure whether or not you get to play. Whether or not you'll get to play this new Shaper Raina. So
if Scott Moore gives us the okay.
If Scott Moore, yes. If the QA guys say A-OK, approved. So more questions. The true betray. I don't get it.
I don't even see what you're reading.
Are you planning on adding Shapers with long range jumps, i.e. the ones who can jump over the larger walls? So we have already Kel, who can jump over almost every gap in the game.
Yep, and in the pipe, yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's true.
Yes.
We're definitely going to add some of the guys who can go across the max walls.
Mobility is good. Super Jeremiah, can we talk about what we're doing in terms of vision, particularly if you're planning on introducing counterplay to wards? That's more of a Gasty question.
More of a Gasty question. It's still something that we're evaluating. The feedback's been really good. I think that some of the people who are used to League or Dota are kind of looking for those counterplay options, and we're looking to provide them.
Yep. Are these Herman Miller Aerons we're sitting on? Yes, they are. Yes, they're amazing chairs. We're very happy. Dibs, what's your favorite shaper?
To play? I think probably Dibs.
Probably Dibs? Really?
Yeah, I love Dibs.
Not Fenmore though, huh?
Fenmore, is my best shaper.
Okay.
I'm probably most effective with Fenmore.
Okay. All right. Any new roles in the pipeline? Ooh.
So that is a big question, and that would definitely be in the Gastyverse.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe down the line.
We're not closed off to the idea of it by any means. That's for sure.
Yep.
So random is JTW. Will you guys have a PvE client when the game is released? Yeah, I mean, once we go into a live status basically, and we're no longer beta, we'll have like a test server where we'll basically test stuff out on, because you kind of have to have that with a live service game. You have to be able to test your new content in a test environment that is close to the live environment. So,
how long ago was work started on the design of Raina? Like, I was thinking about this yesterday in case this question came up. I remember when we used to sit over there, so 8 or 9 months ago, I had the idea for that lock-on mechanic. I remember going to our lead animator and was like, could we have a character who has like a strafe left, right, and back up? And he was like, oh, what are we doing? Some kind of like normal video game that everyone just doesn't walk forward. So the actual like concept for the lock-on shield mechanic was like 10 or 11 months ago, probably.
Okay.
Long time.
That to say, I remember like early versions of her being in the playtests.
Right. And of course, back then it was a little stick figure character who had the same. We mocked up the strafe right, left, and the backup, and he looks like he's doing a moonwalk. It was good.
Yep. What do we have shapers from other EA games? I think we've talked about this before. Coming soon, Isaac Clarke, the shaper.
See, I don't think we'd really want to do that. I assume that we could legally, but we wouldn't want to, because we really want to build up the game as our own, and additionally the fiction, right? If we take Isaac Clarke and we say, he's got a story, the guys over there would be like, what are you doing?
What?
Stop. No, he's got this other story.
I was promised a Commander Shepard, the shaper. And I thought that's why we brought on the guy from BioWare.
Right. He did make Legion, so I would want Legion to be in.
This is true. The answer to that, though, in this all seriousness, no, guys, we would not have that. But it's fun to make a joke about it for sure.
Do not want.
Yes. Let's see here. So we don't have like somebody, the standard, how many shapers do you plan on having in the game before, the game is released, so to say. We don't have like a hard and fast number, basically as many as we can make. And we don't have like this is the final amount of shapers that we want. No, we plan on making more and more and more. So
right.
When will Gasty be on tomorrow? No, he will not be on tomorrow.
No, I'll be playing tomorrow, and you watch me be bad.
Stuck with Dibs for 2 days, man. We had Gasty like 3-4 times in a row or something.
Yeah, I know.
So
too much Gasty.
We need a break from Gasty. Just saying, a little Gasty overload. On Raina, does percent damage reduction stack with her W? If so, is it additively or multiplicatively?
Additively. So the only other defense damage reduction you can get is from Orange Buff, and then the basic defense damage reduction from Order.
Okay. Where do I send my application for Fangirl of the Bearded One?
Oh.
Oh my.
Right here.
Oh my. You're gonna have a Dibs fan club. Can't wait for the first I can't wait for the first big show when it's on the show floor. We'll have Dibs cosplay. It'll be amazing.
It'll be so good.
It'll be amazing, and not that Dibs. Oh no. Although I would love to see that Dibs cosplay.
Right, I'll cosplay Nisa.
Sure. Yeah, go for it, man.
It'll be good. People will like it.
That'll be good. We'll get you a squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel. Let's see here. How many shapers before you make a draft pick game mode? I think that's another Gasty Land question right there.
Yep.
But we basically need to have enough so that it doesn't feel like you're super, super limited.
14, right? Yeah. Yeah. Is base limit, so we could do it now, but I don't think it would be a very good experience.
It wouldn't. No.
I don't like the world where you can ban out all of a single character archetype.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? This game, no range carries. Is that fun? No, it's probably not.
No, probably not. Let's see here. Will we ever post feedback in the Shaper suggestion forum? That's a good question.
It's something that I've been kind of struggling with because there's so many, and I would be afraid if I like went on one and was like, "That's awesome," like blah blah blah, do this, that everyone else would kind of feel sad. But I don't know if that would be something that people would like or not.
We should probably talk about this more offline, but
Right.
I think that there's a good balance to be had with that. I mean, you got to keep in mind, guys, we've said this many times, but we can't. It's very, very true. We're a small team with very limited resources as far as like the number of people that we have. We're just over 35 people in the studio right now. Now, granted, we do plan on growing over the coming months, but that doesn't change the fact that Dibs is doing an awful lot of work, for one guy and trying to keep up with content. So I think that Dibs and Gasty and Hunter and those guys, they do a really good job of staying up to date and abreast of what's going on the forums and in the subreddit, and are very responsive there. But at the same time, like writing those responses, doing the stuff that they do. I mean, unless you're Gasty, who can evidently type up a page-long response,
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
But those things do take time, and it takes time away from development at times too. So, Dibs quit slacking. Yeah, that's right. You mentioned changing Nisa's passive, so people can't follow your pet.
Yep.
When is that? Is that? Well, so somebody's asking when's that expected. We don't really usually give dates on things like that, guys.
I did have to get some additional tech to do what I want to do, but we do have it now. We got that pretty recently. It kind of touches on a larger change that I want to do potentially across more shapers, but it's something that could happen soon.
Okay, very cool. Random Pluto's hair is so bright. Yes, we know. He is ginger. Hear him roar.
Reflects off.
It does. You should see him in the sun. It's actually not just his hair too. It's like a blinding light. My retinas were burned last time we saw him in the sun. Actually, can we expect Courier to be implemented in the game later on?
So that's something we have not thought about too much, I don't think. We kind of like the frequency that people return to lane to give people who are behind in lane a chance to catch up, like gain back XP differential, rather than be able to be continuing their power curve in lane. And we don't have a concept of secret shop, so you would be able to buy completely full late game legendary items while in lane, which might be sad for your losing opponents.
I mean, so that is kind of like as a result of our shaper design, right? People spend more time in lane because there's not the hard stop that you have with something like a mana or something like that.
That's right.
So you do spend a little bit more time in lane. So having those kind of not necessarily forced breaks, but those strategic points where people do need to go back and upgrade does give you, like you pointed out, that respite to people. So it's kind of important to have that, I would say.
Right.
That being said, the courier system is really cool in Dota 2.
Yeah, I like the courier a lot, and all the little cute courier guys you can get are cool.
Dude, I just want a chicken with a jetpack strapped.
No, they got that little dog that has little things on his shoulder, but it's like super cute. It's like a little fantasy dog. It's not like a dog.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's got like a big tongue, and it's got something on its back. I can't remember, but it's really cute.
Dibs. I just said a chicken with a jetpack.
Nah, that's whatever.
That's
whatever.
I'm just saying. Chicken with a jetpack. Would audio chat in game be something you would think about? Not really, not right now. I mean, it's. I think we're satisfied with folks using third party programs with like Skype, Ventrilo, Mumble, or there's even actually a raid call server that a lot of the guys in the subreddit run. So
yeah,
yep,
that's a tricky issue.
Fair enough. A courier sniping is fun. Yeah, that's fair enough. Was Dibs' model based off of a pizza roll?
Yeah, I saw that. It's actually, the early descriptions were pillowcase, so he's just like a pillow.
Nice.
And then you put a face on him, and then some legs and arms, and then you put a bug on the back and stuff.
You know what? That sounds like pre-planning for effective merchandising.
Yes.
I'm just going to say.
That's right. The Dibs hug pillow.
The Dibs hug pillow.
Would be good. I like it.
Dibs body pillow. Sorry, I just had like creepy Japanese body pillow girlfriend thing. Okay. Anyways, where do we put the key at when it's on screen? We're not giving away a 200 use key today, guys. We're doing beta keys silently in the chat today. So, one more question, folks. Time for one more question. Nightmares. Yes, August. That's actually very true. If you squeeze the Dibs body pillow, it goes nightmares. 200 juice tomorrow? Possibly. That's usually when we do them. If we do them, it'd be Tuesdays and Thursdays. Devog04 has a great question to end up. So far, like, who's been the most challenging shaper for you to create?
There are a lot of challenges. Like sometimes it takes a long time to build the kit, and then you get in and it kind of works out. So Moya was that way. It took a super long time to get Moya's kit. It went through a lot of iterations that were pretty bad, and then it got to a point that was pretty good, and then with a few extra tweaks, it kind of got there. Some characters, however, it'll be like one particular ability, and this is something that happens, I think, more commonly. So with Zeri, for instance, Zeri's W, the butterfly mechanic, went through like an unbelievable amount of changes. Like it used to work so many different ways. There were so many different things that it did, and a lot of them were okay, but none of them were great. And it always kind of had these conflicted purposes. Kind of having the goal was this sustained movable thing that you could continue to move, but it had all these weird activation effects and costs, and it was like completely weird. And that went through in about a 4-week period, probably like 15 or 16 different iterations. That was not very good. And I think that's what happens the most. There's a character who was, to be honest, he was originally part of the 12 that we started launch with, but he got pushed out because he was so frustrating to play with that our testers had to permanently ban him from all the video games. So we pulled him, and I've been in a process of kind of remaking his core kit for a long time. So I can't mention who it is, but he's been the king of frustration, working on him.
I see what you did there.
Yes.
Very funny.
You see?
Oh,
You see how I roll?
Yeah, you see how you roll there. All right, guys. So, hey, thank you very much just for popping by today and sharing information about Raina. Tune in tomorrow during the live stream, 1:30 p.m. Pacific. You get to see this guy right here playing Raina in our developer playtest. More than likely, Mr. Pluto will be wingmanning with him and answering your questions. And hey, if we get enough folks in the stream, we'll probably do a 200-use multi-use key tomorrow too. So, until then, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.